so you posted this for a
Oh, yeah.
segment. I thought it was pretty interesting. I haven't watched it yet. So can you set me up on this?
Yeah, so I think the video that the quote tweet is responding to might be a little bit old, but if you play it, it's this girl and she like puts on her engagement ring or whatever, and she sees herself like cleaning and like doing housework, and then she takes it off and she's kind of horrified. And she puts it back on, and there are other videos like that that have gone viral, but it's this idea that like I think especially feminists promote that once you get married, you are sort of this slave to housework. You're trapped. You have to take care of a man and eventually your kids, and it's like unsung whatever. There's a song that's trendy right now called Labor, and it's like a girl singing about like how you have to do everything and you're a housewife, and like
some women actually like being stay at home, by the way.
Yes.
And it doesn't make you any less of a woman. Like that's what feminism spoiled. My wife likes taking care of our pets. She likes taking care of the house. She likes cooking for me. Mm-hmm. She also has a chemistry degree. She's not stupid.
I didn't live with my husband before we got married. So when we moved in together, it was like...
Based.
I'm super old school. There are a lot of reasons for it. I never would have done it anyways. But also the idea that you'd have to be like getting out of a mortgage or like dividing up, being like you take the utility bill when you're also going through a breakup. That sounded horrifying to me.
Yeah.
I never, there are a lot of reasons for it, but when we moved in together, when we got married, we never even had a conversation of like, well, who makes dinner or like who does the laundry? Like he's capable of doing all of it. I just do it. He does the other stuff.
Right. I pick up dog poop and I kill spiders and I mow the lawn and I do the weed trimming and I do, and that we never hashed it out. We don't have a chore chart. I do the outside stuff and the gross stuff. Like I clean up the dog puke and she does all the other stuff. And we're both happy to do it.
Yeah. Like again, like it's not that he can't do it or I can't do the other things. We just naturally fall. We like the labor divided this way. And I thought this quote tweet was really interesting because the person is saying like, even if you're single, you have to do these things. Like the girl putting on the ring and seeing herself like wiping the kitchen counters. Like, are you telling me when you're single, you're not cleaning your kitchen?
Let's see. I haven't seen the video. That's God's honest truth. So.
It's not that complicated, but
yeah, let's see here. Oh, and of course she doesn't want to get married then. Okay, so the message at the end is like she doesn't want. Who does her laundry now?
I don't know, like her. She does all of those things already.
Yeah. Like, by the way, for chat freaking out about killing spiders, 99 times out of 100, I relocate them. I only kill them if I see them more than once, or they're in a spot where I can't grab them with a cup. So I do relocate them outside, just so people know that.
You're so beta. You don't even kill the spiders. No,
I know. Kidding. Yeah, spiders are good. You want them around.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
There was one specifically. One day, my husband was leaving our house, and he was like, "Do not kill this spider because he's killing something else." And I was like, "Cool."
Yeah, we don't have a lot of spiders in our house because I have a pest control service that like comes and sprays.
Oh,
but like well, in Wisconsin, we get those stupid Asian beetles, they were introduced.
Thanks, China.
Something else. Yeah, thanks, China. They were introduced to like kill something else, and then they were supposed to die off when the food supply went away. But then, of course, they just adapted. So now we have both, and it's a lot like in Hawaii, how they had a huge problem with rats. So then they brought in mongooses to eat the rats, but then the rats are out at night and the mongooses are during the day. And now the mongooses don't. Yeah, now they have a mongoose and a rat problem because the mongooses didn't eat the rats because they're active at different times of the day. So yeah, thanks a lot, Obama. But yeah, I do think it's funny. Like, yeah, this did go viral with 300,000 likes, but like, yeah. So even if you were single, you'd still have to do these things. I think obviously this girl looks like an e-girl to me. Like. She got dressed to the nines, has her boobs out, all this stuff to shoot this video. And like, does she think when she's going to get married? I saw this other post I responded to earlier. I don't know if you saw it, where someone was like, I was on the train and I don't know if someone in chat could find the link to that. I was on the train and I saw all these men sitting down and women standing up. No wonder birth rates are so low. I'm like, girl, that's what you wanted. This is what women have.
Wait,
not
you
all
stalled.
women.
I didn't hear part of the story.
Oh, the tweet was like complaining about men who were seated on a train and women were standing. And it was basically like, oh, chivalry. And it said, no wonder birth rates are plummeting. I'm like, I'm sorry. Men were told for 20 years that chivalry is dumb and women don't need that or want it. And then the men that did it were called creepy from other people. Like, this is what you wanted, feminists. And there's no correlation between between chivalry and women getting pregnant. That's crazy talk.
Yeah. It makes me think too of like when, and this is a little bit darker, but like when women are attacked or harassed on the train and people are like, no one did anything. But
you told me not to.
You told them not to. Like, what do you want from people? What do you want from literally everyone in this scenario? I think that there are times that, like in both of these scenarios, it's almost like you are asking to be unhappy, right? Like in the e-girl video scenario, like it's so illogical that she would be like, and when I get married, I'm suddenly like I have to take care of a house, as if she doesn't have to do some of that stuff now. Like,
who's cleaning your house now?
Well, if you're paying for a cleaner now, presumably you pay for a cleaner later, right? Like, especially if you have more resources. And with like people sitting on the train, like you just can't make women in these scenarios happy. And I ultimately feel like there's just a lack, like a sort of emptiness to their life. Like they are always sort of dissatisfied. And so instead of reflecting internally, they have to be like, see, it's because men aren't behaving correctly or men do this to me. It's very much like it's the external world as opposed to the internal world that's the problem.
Well, that makes life a lot easier, right? Like life is a lot easier when it's everybody else's fault. And I mean, why aren't you married? LOL. Let's look at some of the original. Andrew Tate chime in. She had a different tone when trying to get me to settle down. Okay, well, we'll see about that. You forgot these, which is showing like happiness. So you don't clean your toilet or do laundry now. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. Presumably, when you get married, you have less work. That's just the way it is. Maggie just arrived with many bags from Home Goods. Is that for my set? Yeah. Okay. Should never.
Maggie is like, this is the ideal job.
Oh, look at that. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. She's good. Well, I'm redoing the set, and stuff like that. So
because you're fancy now. Well, I saw this study that came out where it's like, it's one of those things I didn't read in depth. I saw somebody responding to it, and they're like, on average, men create 7 more hours of housework a week for women, which like,
how is that calculated?
I don't know. I mean, like, I'm trying to think about it again in my own context. Like, okay, so like I have like an extra load of laundry because there's another person here or like whatever. But on the other hand, like
twice as many dishes.
Women also create some sort of responsibility for men too. Yes. Like,
well, I never had to take tampons out to the trash before a woman lived with me. I never had to clean up makeup. I never had to pull hair out of the shower drain before. I never had to, pull those like hamsters out of the shower drain.
I used to use this like clay mask on my skin and it would always clog the sink. And my husband was like, we can't, what are you doing to me?
That's what happens. My wife uses some sort of mask and then it goes down and it binds to the hair that's already in the drain. And I pull this thing out and it's like a rat. And like, so the idea that women don't, like, I'm not saying that that's what you're saying. I'm saying like that report is absurd because I would say that it's about even. Women probably never had to clean pee off the toilet seat before they lived with a man. Women probably never had to wash racing stripes out of underwear before living with men. All this kind of stuff. But it's basically, for a long time, I did my own laundry and she did her own laundry because she didn't trust me because I would just shrink everything. Because all my clothes is in the washer, in the dryer, done. Hers are like in the washer. This can go in the dryer. The bras have to go in a bra bag. This has to get hung. This has to get permanent. And I'm just like, no, I can't do it.
There's a whole system,
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. I don't, I'm unaware of the system. My brain only has so much room. And there's just I do think that this is kind of one of those like.
She did it to make people mad and get the clicks.
Yes. But she, of course, she did it to.
Obviously, then she identified that there was some kind of reason that people would get mad. And again, I think you can be in traditional family gender roles and be unhappy, right? Like, I don't know that like your wife is psyched to always be doing the laundry or whatever, even if she's like, yeah, I'd rather do this than take out the trash. What I think is more likely is a lot of people's parents' marriages were unhappy and there wasn't a lot of gratitude or mutual affection. And so when this girl is demonstrating like putting on the ring and she sees like basically the overworked, underappreciated housewife and it makes her unhappy, like, yeah, that doesn't seem fun. On the other hand, like, you pick who you marry and you do these things for. I know so many girls who have moved in with their boyfriends and do these things and then become bitter because the relationship is less romantic and like it's not going anywhere. And what are they doing? And it's like, you need to change the terms of your agreement. There's a reason that this is not working.
Yeah, there's a lot of moms that I heard talking about their husbands when I grew up, like as a teenager, as if they did absolutely nothing around the house. And then like, that may be true, but when I'd ride up on my bike, the lawn was mowed, the oil was changed in the cars, like all this stuff. And it's like, she probably grew up with some mom who didn't appreciate the work that her dad did around the house. So now she's like, she just forgets that dad was at work all day, putting groceries in the fridge, all this kind of stuff. But what's most likely is what you said, is that she just made this video for clicks and she's just, and the people will be making
mad. You know what I mean? Like, it still hit a nerve with a lot of people.
Well, people will be making haha empty egg carton videos about her in 10 years too, when she's crying about being single and childless. Anyway, onto the comments. Slick Rick says, invest in boxed wine, Purina, Meow Mix. Videos like this are breeding the next generation of lonely wine-soaked cat ladies. Look, as a cat-friendly show,
we're pro Meow Mix on this show, not Purina.
Yeah. I think that I think this video is probably 10 years old. I'd be willing to bet you.
Yeah.
Like you don't see videos like this anymore because this woman grew up and she's 45 and single right now. And she's like, all of her friends got married. All of her friends are having kids and they don't invite her over anymore because they have nothing in common. And she's sad. We know how this plays out. We know how third wave feminism played out because it rolled out in like 2010 to 2020. And those women are now in their 40s, single and unhappy. Like, that's just what happened. And I don't think there's a whole reason there was this like rubber band effect, this slapback of like these fake tradcon women on TikTok.
Right.
Like, I love, treating my husband and this, that, and the other thing. And women were like, "Arr!" But like they were super popular because it's like, oh yeah, like, again, that's probably too far the other way. But like,
it's a little bit of both, right?
I want my wife to have some agency, but I also want her to like take some joy in keeping a clean house and stuff like that. And if she didn't, then I would hire a maid and find something that she does find joy in, or she could go back to work. Like,
well, okay,
it doesn't, whatever.
I know we're talking about shutting down government agencies or thematically this whole year because of Doge, but there used to be, I talk about this, I feel like this is such a broken record. Anyone who's heard me on needs to be, I think University of Wisconsin there were schools attached to universities of home economics. Like, running your house was treated like a business. And I think at that time,
it should
like
be.
the work, right. And that the work that went into managing a family, managing a home, keeping up with all of the things that go with it, almost was treated with more respect. But when we took away the societal support in these institutions, when it got rolled into the Bureau of Agriculture and then ultimately dismantled, we then started to be like, no one appreciates women. Like, we used to take this stuff seriously. We used to treat the nuclear family like it was a core part of society. And now we look at it as like these two battling individuals who are kind of trying to like overpower one another as they go through. Aww.
Yeah. It is weird. I think that like third wave feminism created a lot of Chelsea handlers, but it also spawned a lot of Andrew Tates and kind of the more like extreme side of, red pill communities. Yeah. Like, it went from stand up for yourself, men, be proud of who you are, don't take any guff, to like women bad. And that was the fault of like, that was the reaction to third wave feminism's men bad. And nobody ever makes that connection when they're complaining about Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is a product of third wave feminism. Not, you know, he would not have been this guy if the mainstream media hadn't been calling men toxic for 20 years. Like, it's just a fact. You know?
They created a wound, and he then was like, hey, I'm going to identify this issue. But it's not that, like, he disappeared without feminism.